Morning everyone, just doing this sunflower painting at the moment. As you can see, this is a poured background over a textured finish to give it, you can't really see the texture, I should have shown it really, but just filling in some of the lines now on the leaves. You can see how big it is, it's 4 foot by 4 foot. These are oil paints, so it's taking quite a lot of tubes of yellow just to get the tones in. I've not even got there yet. These are just doing some shadows that I'll exaggerate on a bit later, but this is a brush I use. This is a pinstripe brush, doing for long sign writing or pinstriping. It's a technique you have to work on a little bit because it's more of a sign writing technique, but trying to do things in single strokes, because of the way the brush is set, that you get a lot of paint stored on the brush, so it makes it a lot easier to work with. But the main problem with a lot of people is that they think that they can do this in one go. Maybe if you're using some weird paint, but not with oil paints because they're quite translucent, so colours have to go on top of colours, and it has to be done over days. You can't just do it in one go because then you have to let it to dry. I use a medium to make my oil paints dry, which is Winsor & Newton Liquin Original. It's one of the best ones. You can buy it in a litre tin, but it's you use quite a bit of it, so it goes pretty quick, and it keeps the transparency of the paint, so you can keep working on them. But again, like I say, you've just got to do these things in layers. I'll just chip forward a little bit so you can see. So as you can see, it's just a case of filling in the lines. So really just filling in the first part of the shading of the way the leaves fall, because they're not flat, they've got shape to them and curved, and you can sort of see the leaves taking shape. But again, you won't see it until you get more shadow in and more highlights. In this case, I'm working from a yellow base, which was just a quick base, covered it all very quickly in the rough shape of the leaves, and now you start to pick them out slowly by slowly. It just keeps on going. Like I keep saying, people, you have to have patience when you're painting. I've been doing this for a few days now, on and off. I don't like working on one thing permanently, but I need to always finish paintings. I have about 2 or 3 going at the moment. I've still got my corner one going, which is a weird metaverse type painting that I'm building up on, but it takes too much concentration, those type of paintings, because they're all sort of sign details, whereas you can get onto this type of work in between and just use single strokes, and you don't need any thingy, because nothing's in flowers are straight or thingy. So if you do waver a little bit and it's a bit twisted, it don't matter. Yeah, you can just see me carrying on just doing the line. So again, I'll fast forward this video a little bit and show you some of the other parts. See these lines? Anyway, so again, just filling in more of the shadows and the creases on the leaves, and soon I'll start on the middle part, which is quite complicated, because when you look into one of these sunflowers, you see a pattern called a Fibonacci pattern, which is runs all the way through nature. It's an amazing pattern in itself, which I'll pick out in detail later. But so it's just more of that, and now I'm looking at the background a little bit more now, because you need to use the colours that you're using on the main body, and use them also in the background as well, so it's more complementary. So here I'm just filling in the smaller sunflowers which are in the background, put some of them in. I put a lot of leaves in at the moment, but they're all random. These leaves will are the background. I'll soon be painting over some of those, so you then put a bit more form and shape into them, but you need quite a lot in the background because it needs to be filled with leaves. When you're looking into a field, you don't see gaps or things, you see stems and leaves, and you've got to try and think in more 3D space rather than a flat surface, because that's all you're working on here. So I'll just show you how this. So here I'm just putting, like I say, putting the base in the sunflowers. Start to see what I'm doing actually a bit better over there when I get over to the other side. But the background's it's got a complex background because it's been run, which you'll never get doing by hand. You know, the way enamel paints and flow into each other and run like you see on a puddle with when oil's been spilt on it, you see like a rainbow type effect, and that's how the enamels work when you put them together. If you use the right thickness or thinness of paint, so they flow nicely. But you can see on the bottom right hand corner opposite to where I'm working, you see just an initial shape of the smaller sunflowers, like I say, in the distance. So they will be a little bit blurred to distract from the main picture, but again you can see it's just a case of these are the parts I call labouring, really. You know, if I was one of the old masters who had apprentices, they'd be doing a lot of this work, but I'm not, so I have to do it all myself. But you can see how slow and painstaking it is, and I'm doing it all with this pinstripe brush because you can, what you can do with it is you use the point, but then it spreads out into a wider brush, which you can just lay down flat on the canvas and pull it across. And I'll show you later on with a bit more detail, because of the ridged effect on the background. If you pull it across, you can highlight things with just pulling it across. Because I'm just adding a few bits of stems, no details at the moment, there's no point, because you just need a few lines in that you're going to pick a little bit out of. So on this side now, I just put the brush on, do the inside of it, which I'll feather off so it shows the leaves a little bit because of the angle that it's on, and then I just put the brush on the outside and then drag it across because of the shape of the brush that I've got. Enables you to do that, because what you don't want is a flat base here. You want different tones. So on the I should have shown this on the mixing board, I've got the browns and the yellows mixed in, so when I put the brush on, it's not just one tone, it's several tones of browns and yellows mixed in. But you can see how instantly you can see the shape that comes from the flower, instead of a little C type shape, which was the initial part. And then you just sort of fill it in, painting by numbers, but you've got to know what the numbers are to be painting. And then see there, just drag it across. You'll see it on this outside one in a minute that I do the bigger one. And again, like I say, this is over the back of an enamel background which has got ridges all the way through it. It's quite a nice detail. I'll do a close-up in a minute and show you the detail of it, and show you how rough all these things are until you get further along in the stages, so you better see it. Here's the brush, where I make the brush do the work and not have to worry about little bits of perfection in between or anything like that. It's just quite, see it there where I drag it across. And I'm not intending to cover everything on the background, I need a bit of that colour shining through as well. but it's like I say, this is a proper textured painting. It's quite effective in itself. It's not going to be nice and detailed, it's going to be quite rough. And again, that's led by the background. I didn't know I was going to do this until I did the background. It was when I seen the background with the yellow and the blue sky effect that I decided to do. See it here now, I'll just drag it across, see? Try not to be too precious with it, just drag it across. Let the brush do the work. See, when you're drawing shapes like this, you have to think about what plane that they're lying on. You don't want it lying flat, so it's a thingy. This has got to be, so you're looking at it from the right hand side to the left. That's how the shadow's coming out on the main sunflower as well, but you have to carry that on through all the things. Even the leaves have to be shaded to that point as well. So I'll show you on the next clip. So there's a bit of a close-up. It might be a bit shaky, but you'll see what I mean. So the base paints of these sunflowers. And also these will have leaves in front of them, but these part of leaves that you're seeing at the moment are only the beginnings of what you get. They're the background leaves, so they'll disappear sort of, and they'll have leaves covering them and full plants in front of them. But you can see the texture there as well. It shows up quite well. It's quite strong, that texture, and it gives a nice effect on it. And that's the liquid that I use, and there's my palette. You see the yellows and browns mixed together for different tones, and that's it really. Just mix it as you go along. There's no rule book for that, you just have to be able to mix it. Don't be scared of it.